Alright everyone, welcome to Arsenal Fan TV, and we have lost at home 3-1 to Monaco in the last 16 of the Champions League. And first of all, let me start off by saying congratulations to Monaco. You outclassed us in every way possible this evening. We looked absolutely pathetic. It was a disgraceful performance by us. Quite easily one of the worst performances that I've seen live at the Emirates. It was a shocking game tonight, and anything that I say is not going to justify quite how poor we were. But I want to give a rational point of view. There is no point ranting in this video about how awful we were, about how many chances Giroud missed in the game. It's just about how we move on from this and what we can learn from tonight's game, because evidently we're not learning from previous last 16 fixtures that have come our way in previous years. So this game emulated the 4-0 defeat we had at the San Siro a couple of years ago in every way. We looked diabolical, and it frustrates me because in every single tie that we've had, apart from that one at the San Siro a couple of years ago, in the last 3 or 4 years, we've looked very hungry from the start of the game. For the first 10-15 minutes, we kind of trick ourselves into thinking that we're actually going to play incredibly well for the whole 90 minutes of the match. That's exactly what we did today. We played very well for about 10-15 minutes. Monaco petered the game out. They frustrated us into panicking in a way. They clustered the midfield and they gave us very little time on the ball, and then they hit us exactly where it hurts. And this has happened with Bayern Munich, it's happened with Barcelona, it even happened with AC Milan. Most notably, it's happened with Bayern Munich though in previous years, and it's grimly predictable because we've dug ourselves too deep of a hole to come back into this tie, and in my opinion it's over. This is Monaco. When the draw was made, every single one of us, every Arsenal fan cannot deny it, they were ecstatic that day when we drew Monaco, when we could have had Real Madrid, Barcelona. We should be grateful that we got Monaco, because if we'd have got someone like Real Madrid or Barcelona this evening, we would have been torn a new one, because we were absolutely horrific. Monaco could have scored 5 or 6. We were that bad. It reminded me of the game against Man United earlier in the season. It reminded me of the game against Spurs a couple of weeks ago. And why are these performances consistently happening? We are grimly inconsistent. And that's what frustrates me more than anything about Arsenal. You can guarantee that we're going to go out to Monaco in 3 weeks' time. We're going to score about 2 goals. It's not going to be enough. And we're going to go out at a tie because we've dug ourselves too deep of a hole in this fixture. And this game is unforgivable. Completely unforgivable. Even if we were to win 3-0 in Monaco, you still can't forgive the events that have occurred this evening, because we were disgraceful for a club of superstars that can boast Mesut Ozil, Santi Cazorla, Alexis Sanchez, a non-form Olivier Giroud, and we cannot score for a majority of the game until Oxlade-Chamberlain's come on. Is disgraceful. Monaco, as good as they were defensively, I haven't heard of half of their players. With all respect to them, they've got a 34-year-old Dimitar Berbatov up top who is showing Olivier Giroud how to hit the back of the net. We were outclassed today by a team that simply wanted the game more than us, and it's the most frustrating thing in the world. Completely and utterly frustrating to know that it's another tournament that we're going to do absolutely naff all in, when we had the best chance in about 4 or 5 years to actually go on and progress in a tie that was so favourable to us, and we bottled at the first chance of that. Pathetic. And we go to Monaco in a game that I'm completely not looking forward to. Scratch that. I'm not even looking forward to the game against Everton at the weekend, because I don't know what to expect with Arsenal. They're so inconsistent, and we're consistently inconsistent. We go on runs of games where we win about 5 or 6 in a row, and then we have a complete performance like this. What does this performance reflect? It doesn't reflect the performances we were having earlier on. I mean, this doesn't reflect 5-0 against Villa. It doesn't reflect the performance we had at Palace at the weekend. We looked a shambles of ourselves. We were utterly disgraceful this evening. I don't know quite how to put into words quite how poor we were. But like I say, I want to give a rational perspective on this, because if I'm being realistic, we're not going to progress. We're not going to progress from this point. And yeah, that's a negative approach, but history shows that it's going to be very difficult for us to overturn this. And Monaco, at the back, they were so tight defensively. They've got to really take their hats off. Their manager, perfect tactical awareness today. They frustrated us in this game. They got the goals when they needed to. Granted, they were a bit lucky with the first one, but it's a vital win for them, and I can only congratulate them for that, because they were outclassed us this evening. But let's just take a look at how this game panned out. First of all, the starting lineup that Arsenal fielded, a team pretty much identical to the one of the weekend at Palace, and I was really excited to see that. We saw Danny Welbeck start, we saw Olivier Giroud start, who's been banging in goals for us left, right and centre, and we saw the three players behind the striker being, just like I just mentioned, Danny Welbeck, Santi Cazorla, Mesut Ozil actually, I forgot to mention him, and Alexis Sanchez. An influx of talent going forward. Certainly the players that you would expect to be demolishing, no matter how good they are defensively, you would expect them to be getting at least a couple of goals past his Monaco side, most notably. We didn't expose their midfield, we didn't expose their defence, and we looked very lackluster, certainly. That's the word that I think really epitomises this game. There was a lack of urgency throughout. The start of the game started really well for us. 10-15 minutes, we had a good couple of chances. We looked very lethal. Alexis Sanchez bombing forward, Danny Welbeck getting a good chance, but we weren't clinical when we needed to be, and that's what cost us in this game. After about a 15-minute mark, the game petered out. We're dawdling about the pitch. There weren't many breaks on for us. Alexis Sanchez certainly didn't seem at his best today, but he was still the best of the bad bunch, which really says all you need to know about him. His work ethic is completely spot on, but I just think he wasn't able to string two passes together today. He was running into players, and it wasn't the kind of performance I'd associate with a player of his calibre. The same goes for Mesut Ozil. He was poor today, practically non-existent throughout the majority of the game, but I can't nitpick on players because the all-round team performance, apart from Coughlin and Gibbs, I can't think of anyone that was actually decent today. Honestly, I can't. The whole team should bow their heads in shame because it's unforgivable how poor this display was. We've got World Cup winners in this side and they can't see off Monaco at home. It's disgraceful. But bar that first 15 minutes and bar the period where they frustrated out of the game, we didn't see the first goal until fairly late on in the first half. A Jeffrey Kondogbia deflected goal, which it's hard to say. Did we really deserve to go a goal down at this point? It's hard to say that we did because we looked so promising in that opening spell of the game. But we hadn't taken our chances, so you kind of think that they got us where it really hurt. And they took their chances when they came to, but granted it was very lucky. It kind of came out of absolutely nothing. Kondogbia with a potluck shot deflects off Mertesacker. Ospina route to the ground completely wrong-footed. I can't really blame him there. And it went into the back of the net. 1-0 down. We conceded an away goal, which obviously was going to put loads of pressure on us, and after that we panicked. We completely fell to pieces after that goal, in my opinion. We went out in the second half and we looked very hungry from the get-go to try and get that goal, and we just weren't able to break through the defence. We had chances to do it. Olivier Giroud with the best chances in this game. First of all, a free header coming his way, which he completely skied. A free header. He completely skied it. He had another good chance as well right at the start of the half, which went absolutely nowhere. A very tame effort. And then he had a chance which was an open goal, which, you know, how much money is he on, and he's not putting that in the back of the net. Berbatov would have put that in the back of the net. I don't know how he missed it, honestly. I can't really talk about Giroud. He was the most frustrating player on the pitch tonight, and he's the kind of player that sums up Arsenal in a way because he's consistently inconsistent. It's unbelievably frustrating. I'm saying that so many times, but that sums up this evening's game, and it's not just frustrating, it's kind of heartbreaking in a way that it's just happening again and again and again and again, and you know what to expect from this Arsenal side at this period in the season. We're going to end up in a top 4 scrape, and we've got to do as best as we can in the FA Cup, and I hate to put it that way, I really honestly do, but it's another season where we haven't progressed, unless we can go on to win the FA Cup again, but even that is kind of stagnating. It'd be great to win the FA Cup again, but honestly, we've got to be progressing, and this performance is just shambolic. It's a performance I would have expected a couple of years ago from Arsenal. But moving on from that, that second half was really more of the same from the first half. Monaco really saw us out, they really petered us out, and they slowed the game down at every opportunity that they had to. They were happy with their 1-goal lead. They made it 2-0, and that kind of was when the tie was put to bed, really. Dimitar Berbatov with a class finish, and it was such high pressure from the defence, and this is inexcusable in my opinion. Per Mertesacker was so incredibly irritating this evening. The fact that we've seen him push high up the pitch so many times in the past. He did it against Man United exactly the same. You know, this goal was exactly the same as pretty much the one Rooney scored against us earlier on in the season. Shocking how high our back line presses up, and Mertesacker, maybe it's time for him to be dropped because he's really on his last legs at the moment. He is really looking like the shadow of a player he was a couple of seasons ago, and his errors are really being, you know, made up for by Laurent Koscielny being alongside him. Koscielny, a fantastic defender, and he is really accounting for a lot of Mertesacker's errors. Was Mertesacker our captain tonight? No, he did not play like a captain in any essence of the word. Hector Bellerin at right back it's hard to lay into him. This is a big game for him. But I've got to be honest, it was a very poor performance from him. I don't want to, like I say, I don't want to lay into him, but he's not ready for these games, and that's a fact. He shouldn't have to be in that situation. Maybe it would have been better to start Callum James, but again, he's 19 years old. It's a very difficult scenario to be in, and unfortunately, we don't have cover in that situation apart from those two players who are very young and inexperienced. And it's obviously going to be a very difficult game for either of them to feature him. But unfortunately, injuries have come our way to Matthew Debussy, and there's not really much else we can do. But that back line as a whole was relatively poor. In fact, it was very poor for the goals that we conceded. I would have expected a lot more from us defensively today, and that's what's frustrated me more than anything. Gibbs and Koscielny are about the only two defenders I can say can really hold their heads high, and Francis Coquelin in front of them until the period when he went off. But 2-0 down, the tie had been put to bed pretty much at that point, until we saw the introduction of Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, who scored an absolute worldie of a goal. It gave us some life, but I wasn't getting over ecstatic at that point. I mean, I can understand why people would celebrate that goal, but I wasn't overly enthused by it. It proved to be a nothing goal when we conceded yet again, right in the closing stage of the game, pretty much an identical goal to the one that we conceded through Berbatov. Berbatov's goal, by the way, just brushing that class finish. At 34 years of age, he really he knows how to put it in the back of the net. Great finish by him. But this goal, a very good finish as well, off the inside of the post. I can't quite remember the guy that scored it, but they had about 3 or 4 opportunities, exactly the same to the one that they put away for their third goal before this one. And it's inexcusable, because it could have been 4 or 5 to them today, and we're kind of lucky that we're coming out of this game just having conceded 3 goals. We were dominant through spells of the game just through possession, but possession doesn't mean anything. It's only one stat that matters, and that is how many goals are at the end of the game. And we've conceded 3 goals at home in the Champions League to Monaco. And what hope do we have going into the second leg? I feel utterly dejected after this performance, and it's not the first time that I'm saying that this season, but it's a tournament that I honestly wanted us to see do well in. They've got a very well regimented unit, and at Monaco, are we going to score 3 goals? The talent that we had on offer today, if they can't score like 1 goal past them until the dying stage of the game when we introduced Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. The Oxlade-Chamberlain, the only real bright spot that I can take out of this game. Not a lot of positives at all that I can bring out. In fact, there's none. It's an unforgivable performance. I can't really see what will make this right, apart from going to Monaco and scoring 3 goals. We've given ourselves one hell of an uphill climb. Are we going to do it? I don't want to delude myself into thinking we can, but it's always nice to have hope in that essence. But it's been a really horrible evening, to be honest, and I'm not really looking forward to that game against Everton, in truth. And then in a couple of weeks' time we go and play Monaco again in a fixture that's kind of going to be absolutely meaningless if we can't put in any kind of performance whatsoever. But you can kind of predict that we're going to put in a decent performance for spells of the game. We're going to get 2 goals, we're going to fall a goal short, and it will just emulate the kind of performances that we've had at this stage in the Champions League a couple of seasons ago, consistently over seasons. But this has been the best opportunity for us to progress to the next round in ages, and it could be for years to come. But we've completely bottled it. We're absolute bottle jobs, and we're not learning. We're absolutely not learning. If the first defeat to Munich didn't make us learn, if the second defeat didn't make us learn, if the 4-0 at the San Siro didn't make us learn, then honestly, when is there going to be a turning point in this stage? How much do we want to win this? I think that's what we've really got to ask ourselves, because tonight's performance didn't reflect a side that wanted to win it. The thing that really hacked me off for major parts of the game is how casual we were. So casual, especially like in the dying stage of the game. When there are 2 minutes left, there's a corner for us, and people are just strolling to the box. For God's sake, show some urgency. At least show that you want to get back into the game. The only positive I can take out today is Oxlade-Chamberlain. I thought he was superb when he came on. But apart from that, it's a dire performance, an unforgivable one at that. And it looks like we're heading out of the Champions League at the last 16. Again, absolutely again. I mean, people go on about how poor City are in the Champions League, but we're on par with them, quite easily on par with them. We've been diabolical in the Champions League the past couple of seasons, and honestly, it gets to that point. You've got to think, why are we putting in so much effort to qualify for it if we're not actually going to try and win it? It's shocking. And all that effort and work we put into getting 4th last season, you know, before that, and we bottle it time after time after time. I don't know what to say. Honestly, I do not know what to say. But the only way we can respond is with a good victory at Everton on Sunday. But this is just absolutely dejecting. But those have been my thoughts on the game. If you've enjoyed it, give it a like rating. Subscribe to Arsenal Fan TV. Make sure to check out my own channel, AFC Game by Game. I'll speak to you soon, guys.
I'll tell you what went wrong, Rob. It's called arrogance. It's arrogant players, arrogant manager, arrogant club. It's only Monaco. So their attitude from minute one was a fucking disgrace. I'm sorry to swear, it was a disgrace. And Ozil, if you're telling me that's the sort of game, we bought him for that sort of game. I expect him to get on the ball, impose himself, he hid.